Sounds like the culture in Allen Park never, ever takes a day off.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, we're back with another episode of Locked On Lions, everybody, on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today is Wednesday, April 9th, and a Thursday, April 10th. Thanks for making us your first listen. Thank you for being with us and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Matt Derry with you. Thanks for joining us as always here as we talk Detroit Lions football. If you missed yesterday's show, we had Dorian Mausi on the show from U of D Jesuit High School, 4 years as a linebacker at Duke, and last year starting inside linebacker at Auburn. He took part in yesterday's Lions Pro Day. Go back and watch or listen to Dorian yesterday. He was fantastic and really gave us some inside scoop and skinny on what takes place in those pro days and what happens down in Allen Park. And it's actually a part of our first segment here today on Locked On Lions. Find us again wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe. Check us out. Like us on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. We'll talk about culture. Today, something Dorian brought up yesterday. Lions had a free agent visit today in Allen Park, according to reports, and reportedly he's leaving without an offer or a contract and heading to New York to meet with the Giants. We'll tell you who that was coming up momentarily as well. Lions are toast to the town. The other teams starting to get a little bit better around here, but I have a Lions versus Red Wings debate I got to bring up, and we'll do our call of the day. We'll hear from one of our everydayers. If you want to be our call of the day, go to www.speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. That's speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. And you too can be our call of the day as well. Leave a voicemail, make it fun, make it interesting, leave it under a minute. Don't swear. Can't do that. And we might play it on the show. We are working on Nick Baumgardner for tomorrow from The Athletic. Talk some draft with Nick. We're likely going to have Trevor Sikkema from PFF next Wednesday. We're going to get you ready for the draft, working on Dane Brugler too. Dane, of course, publishes what they call The Beast, the gigantic draft guide at The Athletic. We'll hopefully get Dane on next week or the week after, leading up to the draft, which, ladies and gentlemen, is just what? Today is Wednesday, the 9th. We're 2 weeks and 1 day away from day one of the NFL draft. That's going to be pretty sweet. Lions, of course, drafting 28th in the first round. All right, so yesterday we had Dorian on the show, and if you missed it, thank you, by the way, to John Macaroon at Detroit Sports Podcast and All Lions on SI. I almost said CNN SI. Remember CNN SI? But John Macaroon did a nice write-up about Dorian's appearance on our show, gave a Locked On Lions a little bit of pub, which we appreciate. But Dorian Mausi was on yesterday, played linebacker at U of D Jesuit, got a contract, got a scholarship to Duke. It's contracts now, right? Got a scholarship to Duke, played 4 years as a starting linebacker with the Blue Devils. Last 2 years under Mike Elko. Before that, Cutcliffe was there. And then this past year was at Auburn. And we had Dorian on because he was taking part in yesterday's Lions Pro Day down at 222 Rodwood Drive. Dorian had a great time. Loved being there. Loved working out for the Lions. And I asked him a question about just what was it like to be around the Lions organization? And he gave a very interesting answer. I want to play that for you, and then we will respond. This is from yesterday's show. What separates the Lions from other teams? I know you've had some conversations with some other teams and stuff, but like you mentioned before about going through install, and I know you can't tell us all their secrets and what the defense is going to look like, but what do you get a sense of how the Lions, what they feel like just being around them?
So first thing I want to say, and something I learned in college football, is that culture matters. Culture matters 100%. And it's something that's lost a little bit in terms of some teams or some college teams even. And that's the thing, that's the part that's missing. And over there, it is not missing. You can tell because how every coach speaks to you. You speaking to different coaches throughout the day and how they're all preaching the same message in a sense. And so one thing that I took away was that you come here, you get an opportunity to play for the Lions. You're not there for no reason. Like, you always have a chance to show who you are. You always have a chance to play if you just go out there and do what you're supposed to do and make plays. Like, there's no shortage. They're not just going to have you out there just wasting your time, everything. Like, no, like, everything you do is a job interview over here. And everybody has a shot to do it. You know, you see how they rank up guys in-house and in the staff and everything, from the linebackers coach. Now he's the DC. We got a new linebackers coach now. And so it's just what they preach in terms of like next man up mentality, or like being able to work and your work will be rewarded. If you're good enough, then that's true. That's not a facade at all.
I love that. All right, so that was from yesterday. Dorian Mausi from Auburn. And look, he's highlighting something that I think the fans here are now starting to figure out. And he said it, culture matters. And he said he wasn't there yesterday just because it was a nice invite and he's a local kid. He was there for a reason, and it was all business. But like he said, he could just tell, being around the Lions, that it's a winning organization. It's an organization that is organized, where culture, where relationships, everything is ultra professional. And he even told me off camera and off mic before we were recording, I just said, how was it today? And he was beaming. He was excited. Now, again, Dorian might not get drafted. All right. He's going to be at a mini camp and a training camp somewhere, because he was a starter for 3 or 4 years in college at an ACC school and an SEC school. Dorian is a good football player. Might not be good enough to get drafted, maybe late 6th, 7th round pick. That's where some are projecting him. If not, he will get a UDFA deal somewhere. He can help on special teams. He can run. He's a good athlete. But man, he was so excited to be around the Lions and how they handled local pro day. Okay, yesterday wasn't bringing in Shamar Stewart or a guy they could draft at 28 or Mike Green or any of these big time prospects. These mostly were guys yesterday that were going to be, yes, Josiah Stewart could be a 2nd or 3rd rounder. There were some good players there, but a lot of the players that were there yesterday for the local pro day are likely going to be late round picks or UDFAs, undrafted free agents. And yet you heard Dorian talking about it. The Lions handled it professionally, organized, importance that they wanted football players there. There was no messing around. And you know, a lot of times now we've seen how lackadaisical things can go. Maybe not necessarily at all NFL stops, but you see it in other sports, right? Load management in the NBA, guys sitting out. I put on, I don't mean to just pick on the NBA, but I put on late night last night on TNT, Suns Warriors. The Phoenix Suns don't give a crap. They're done. They are mailing it in. It's a lick of the stamp out in Phoenix. They are an embarrassment. All right. You pay your money to go to Ford Field. You know the Detroit Lions are going to fight tooth and nail. They're going to scratch and claw and try to win, because for the last 4 years, this is what has been built by everybody from the top down, from Sheila Ford Hamp, the owner, to, yes, I'm saying it, Rod Wood and Chris Spielman and Brad and Dan, everybody, equipment people, the 90th guy on the roster, everything. They all are pulling the rope. They're not pushing it. There's no such thing as, you can't push a rope. They all are pulling in one direction. And for this kid to come on yesterday, Dorian Mausi, who's a great young man. Again, I taught him at U of D years ago. But just the way he was talking about the Lions, it's like you pinch yourself as a Lions fan going, we are a model franchise. We're the franchise that other teams are trying to emulate. Arizona Cardinals are trying to be built like the Lions are. Tennessee Titans, with their new GM, have talked about what Detroit has done. The Denver Nuggets have fired their GM and coach. And I've seen people on social media go, well, the Nuggets might be looking at like the Lions model. Like, wait, what? Coach and GM, together, working together, helping draft together, helping sign free agents together. It's our team. So I loved what Dorian said yesterday. And if I'm a Lions fan, I'm excited to hear that has not gone away. Despite losing early last year in the playoffs and the fans being disappointed, this team is on a mission to get back to where they were a couple of years ago, which is the NFC Championship game. And as we know, anything is possible and anything can happen. All right, Lions looking to bolster that defensive end or edge room. They entertained a free agent today. We will tell you who that was coming up next right here on Locked On Lions. And we're brought to you today by our friends at FanDuel. NBA playoffs are almost here. Pistons are involved, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action. Right now, when you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets if your bet wins. All right. I just love how FanDuel makes betting so easy. Whether it's picking your favorite team or diving into player props, you can do that. From 3-pointers to steals to assists, FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props, especially come playoff time. Plus, after the game tips off, maybe you're late to coming home, you're throwing the TV on, you want to put some money down, you can. You can combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win big. Pistons playoffs can be even more fun with FanDuel. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com, that's FanDuel.com, and claim your $250 in bonus bets today. Matt Derry back with you. It is a Wednesday edition of Locked On Lions. Nick Baumgardner from theathletic.com will join us tomorrow. We will talk draft. Nick is one of the draft Nicks there in that athletic stable. We'll get Nick's thoughts on some prospects and everything else that the Lions have done with free agency and how it's leading into the draft. We'll get into that with Nick coming up tomorrow right here on Locked On Lions. All right, Lions today. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, entertained free agent defensive end and former Chicago Bear DeMarcus Walker for a visit. Actually, the visit took place, according to Fowler, last week. Tomorrow, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, DeMarcus Walker will visit the New York Football Giants. If you remember DeMarcus Walker from last year, he was on the Bears, and he actually had a really good game against the Lions at Ford Field. Was disruptive. A couple of plays really abused Graham Glasgow. 7 sacks in 2 years with the Bears. He was entering his 3rd year with Chicago, and they cut him back in February and saved themselves $5.25 million. DeMarcus Walker is 6'4", 280. Started his career with the Denver Broncos as a 2nd-round pick. Played 4 years in Denver. Last 2 years in Denver, had 8.5 sacks. Then was in Houston and then Tennessee, and then signed a 3-year, $21 million deal with the Bears. Spent 2 years with Chicago and played in 34 games. Did not miss a game the last 2 years. But Walker is a decent player. Now, here's the knock on DeMarcus Walker is that the Bears last year had him playing mostly edge, but this is another guy that fits the Lions mold in that he can slide. Now slide, baby, slide. He can slide from edge rusher to interior defensive lineman and play over the center. So Walker could be somebody that is in the mix for the Lions. Again, he was making $7 million a year and had 1 more year left on his contract. Not sure what he's looking for and whether it's going to be too rich for the Lions blood. I hate that term. I can't believe I just said it, but I did. But DeMarcus Walker is a pretty good football player. Been in the NFL now 7-8 years. Again, has played on 4 teams, Denver, Houston, Tennessee, and Chicago, but is a very serviceable defensive lineman and edge rusher that can play both outside and inside. And again, we've talked about this. Brad Holmes said it last week at the owners' meetings. They feel like they've got a lot of interior defensive linemen at the moment. Elaine McNeil won't start the season on time, but DJ Reader is back. Levi Onwuzurike is back. They want to take a good long look at Broderick Martin. They signed Roy. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere. Lopez. They've got guys. Josh Pascal can play inside. But Walker fits the bill of a guy that is big enough to take some snaps on the inside and also play on the outside. So I'd love to see this. I think DeMarcus Walker is a pretty good football player. He's just solid. And he's a guy last year had a good game. Had a couple of quarterback pressures, had a couple hits on Jared Goff in last year's game on Thanksgiving at Ford Field. too expensive for Chicago. They let him walk. And so the Lions are taking a look. But he was here last week and they didn't sign him, which is probably not a great sign. But he's going to go to the Giants and talk to them, according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. So we'll have to wait and see. Saw a couple more mock drafts today where Shamar Stewart was there for the Lions. The kid from Boston College, Ezraku, was there for the Lions, Donovan Ezraku. A lot of people feel like Detroit's going to go edge at 28. Walker, to me, is more of a combo. He would kind of be the John Kaminsky replacement now that Kaminsky is retired and play both inside and outside. All right, quick note here that we'll get to our call of the day, but I want to bring something up. We mentioned before about culture, and we talked about the Lions' ascension under Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, and it was on schedule. First year, we knew it was going to be rough. 2021 was a bleep show, right? I mean, it was not good. The boat took a lot of water in 21. They won 3 football games. Next year, they win 9. They surprised the Packers at the end of 2022. They end Aaron Rodgers' career in Green Bay. 2 years ago, 12 wins, a division championship, and man, was that fun getting to the NFC Championship game. And last year, they take the next step forward, and this team wins 15 games, 15-2. So the plan and how they've ascended and how the airplane has taken off and everything that they've talked about, they're on schedule. Last year, I think, was the first time there was a little bit of a bump in the road because they were the 1 seed. I think if the Lions had to do it over again, they might not have let guys go on vacation. There were guys, Dan Skipper is taking pictures on the beach. And then they came back and they lost to the Commanders. It happens. You play one game. It's single elimination. It's tournament. You get into the tournament, you might lose. But I think the Lions feel really good about where they are right now going into next season. And now with the draft in a couple of weeks, they're going to add even more players to this roster. What about the team down the street or next? Well, it's down the street, down Woodward or up Woodward. The Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings told us, they were going to be building this thing, the Yzer plan. Do you guys realize this is year 6 that's about to finish of Steve Yzerman's reign as general manager of the Detroit Red Wings? And I get it. The Detroit media always coddles the Ilitch teams. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, but I'm not going to tell you. I have an idea why. How about that? There's certain things that go on in the background. The Ilitch teams have always been coddled. And the Red Wings are about to miss the playoffs again. Do you realize that the Detroit Pistons, who are a tenant of the Red Wings at LCA, they pay rent. It's not even their building. They pay rent. They're going to be playing a playoff game at the LCA before the team that built that arena for the hockey team. The Red Wings still have not made the playoffs. We're going back now, 9 years, 10 years? It's embarrassing. Everybody makes the Red Wing fans are incredible. I went to some Wing games this year. The hockey nistas out there, the puck bunnies. You guys love your squad. DRW, LGRW. You guys love them. Red Wing fans are great. And your product sucks. That team last night, I caught some of the game. They were playing for their playoff lives last night in Montreal, and they just got boat raced. They got their asses kicked. And it's like year 6 of the general manager. Year 6. And I know it's Stevie, and we're all huggy and kissy Stevie. I know. I covered Yzerman for years. Nice guy. But my God, if this general manager was a different name, or heck, if he was Joe Dumars, wouldn't he be gone by now? The Lions tell you, here's what we're building. Here's how we're going to do it. And here are our goals. And the Lions are bold. Brad Holmes said last year, we want to win Super Bowls. Listen to Yzerman talk. Well, we'll see. I want to keep improving. They stink. Like everybody talks about Detroit teams, grit and toughness. You're seeing the Pistons now have this bad boys part 3 identity. And the Tigers are gritty. Tigers lost today to the Yankees, but man, they were down 4-0 in the ninth inning and brought the winning run to the plate and lost 4-3. Tigers battle. Tigers are a biatch to play. They are tough. Red Wings just get pushed around. And there's not much of a word about it around here. Like Teflon. It's crazy to me. All right. That's my rant on that. Coming up next, call of the day. You want to be our call of the day? Go to speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. Hey, we got any pet people that like the show? Well, hey, you probably heard of Chewy then. They really do everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. Whether you're shopping for food, treats, or even pet health care, Chewy makes it fast, easy, and affordable. With over 100,000 products from all your favorite brands, Chewy has everything your pet needs, from food and treats to toys, beds, and grooming. And it's not just for dogs and cats. They've got supplies for birds, fish, reptiles. Who's got reptiles at their house? I probably just opened myself up to funny stuff on the comments. And small pets too. Chewy also makes it easy to manage your pet's health with prescriptions, telehealth, vet visits, and even in-person vet clinics rolling out nationwide. Auto ship is a game changer too. You can set up automatic deliveries for food, treats, or any essentials so you never run out. You can easily change or cancel it anytime. Chewy is great for your pets. I have friends that love it. Go and check out what they have on their website. They get everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. Right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewy.com or clicking the link in the description. Save $20 on your first order with free shipping by clicking the link in the description. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. All right, it is time to hear from our listeners. We always love when you guys and girls chime in with us at speakpipe.com/Dairy Podcast page. It is our call of the day. And I'm going to cue this bad boy up right now. Always love hearing from the listeners and the callers. Our man Jake Hedrick checks in today. He is our call of the day. Let's take a listen.
Hey, Derry. This is Jake. I'm a longtime listener, first-time caller into the show. On Saturday, you did a segment on John Morton, and although I understand the sentiment that it may be a downgrade from our beloved Ben Johnson, we're strictly going off of a 2017 season with the dumpster fire that is the Jets. And just a little bit of insight, Nolan Bianchi sent out a tweet back in January talking about the Jets offense under John Morton. And in that season, Josh McCown had his career high in passing yards and touchdowns. Bilal Powell had his career high in rushing yards and touchdowns. Robbie Chosen, career high in touchdowns and second most yards of his career. Jermaine Kearse, career high in receiving yards and touchdowns. And Austin Safarian Jenkins, career high in receiving yards. I know it's a small sample size, but that is a pretty terrible skill position group, and he seemed to get the most out of them. So I feel like we kind of owe it to him to see what it is that he can bring to the table. And I mean, if he was getting the most out of these really, honestly, bad players, I feel like there's a glimmer of hope. Yes, it's not going to be Ben Johnson. We may not have all the trick plays that are fun and flashy, but I feel like he can get the job done. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right, thank you, Jake. Great call, and appreciate you participating on the show today. Interesting commentary from Jake, and he did his homework certainly on the Jets. By the way, Robbie Anderson, did he change his name to Robbie Chosen? I think he did. That dude is a little out there. But yes, he mentioned a lot of bad football players that were on that 2017 Jets team, coached by Todd Bowles. And yes, their offensive coordinator was Johnny Morton, who now, of course, is going to run the Lions attack. We mentioned this last week that I think Jared Goff is going to have a bigger say in what the Lions are doing this coming season than he has had in his previous 4 years with the Lions. Now, That doesn't mean that Jared Goff couldn't audibilize the line of scrimmage under Ben Johnson, nor have a conversation with Ben about direction for game planning, etc. I think Jared Goff did, but I think he's going to have a bigger hand in what goes on this year because John Morton does not have the cachet that Ben Johnson has. Now, again, Morton may be great. And I have brought up 2017 because after only one season, and despite Josh McCown, Bilal Powell, Austin Seferian-Jenkins, and all those mediocre players the Jets had on Morton's offense, he was fired. There was friction between Morton and the staff and philosophy. Okay. Dan Campbell is still running the show. If Dan Campbell wants a game where they're going to throw the ball 50 times and we know we can pick on their corners, let's do some razzle dazzle down the field, they're going to do it. If Dan Campbell thinks 1 week, let's pound the rock, run Montgomery, run Gibbs, utilize our offensive line, and maybe Goff only throws it 22 times, 25 times. That'll happen too under Dan's watch. But I really like what he had to say just now because you're right. There is that notion about John Morton. And yes, he got the most out of Bilal Powell and Josh McCown that he could statistically, that being John Morton. I'm interested in seeing it. You know, I'm a little nervous for next year because number one, the schedule is it's a slobber knocker and it's going to be difficult, especially the road games. And number two, you're losing a defensive coordinator that was a top 5 assistant coach in this league and an offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, that was the assistant coach of the year. He's phenomenal. And so, you know, Kelvin Shepard's never been a DC before. And John Morton has been an OC 1 year and got fired. So we'll see. But call of the day was good. I liked the points that were made there about just giving John Morton a chance, especially with what he had to work with in New York. Nick Baumgartner is going to join us tomorrow. I also have a Caleb Williams comment I want to get to tomorrow as well. As once again, Caleb Williams is saying, I'm ready this time. Remember after his junior year when he's like, I'm going to be better senior year, and he wasn't? Remember after his senior year, he said, I'm not going to be immature my first year. I'm ready. And he wasn't. Now he's talking big again. We'll talk about that. Nick Baumgartner from The Athletic tomorrow as well. Right here on Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network.